Hi,
Hey,
how are you?
good. How are you?
Hi
I'm doing
there.
well, thank you.
Oh, it's showing
That's weird.
it's Vanessa.
I'm not sure why it's showing Vanessa.
Hi, Gina.
Hi.
I don't think you've met Megan and Jay yet. Megan
No,
and
I have
Jay,
not.
Gina just started working at Rev Genius last week, so we're super excited to have her.
Nice. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you
Nice to meet you.
guys. Nice to meet you guys as well.
Hi, Jason.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. Who's under the title of Vanessa?
It's me. It's Kendall. I'm not sure why I'm appearing as Vanessa. I have my camera off because I'm a little under the weather.
Oh no. Are you all right?
I finally, I almost got 3 years without catching COVID, so I knew it was going to happen eventually.
Yeah, I thus far have dodged it. Anna, our head of community, tested positive yesterday, so it's definitely.
Oh no. Sorry to hear that. Does Caffrey have the meeting invite?
Yes, I just texted her. Yeah, she should be joining here shortly.
And
Hey,
then
if you
Gina,
Yep.
I was going to say, if you wanted to, if you click participants, and actually, let me see if I can do it for you. No, you should be able to update if you click more. So if you click participants, you click more next to your name there, you can update your name so that it will say
wait.
you instead of. Hey, there we
And
go.
I should drop prior to this beginning,
Okay.
right? So that we have just the panelists showing.
We can hide people.
Okay, perfect. We'll just do that.
Jay, do you want to send Caffrey an email with the link? Just make sure she has it.
Yep, doing that right now.
Oh, there she is. Hey,
Hi,
Caffrey.
Caffrey.
Caffrey, you should be able to rename yourself. We're all coming up as Vanessa for some reason.
Okay, let me see here.
In the upper right
It's
corner. Yeah.
because everybody gets a unique link to join, and so it looks like everybody
Oh,
with Vanessa's link to join, and so it's
that makes sense. Yeah, I just grabbed it from the calendar invite, so
Yeah.
I didn't even go back and find my unique link.
Well, I mean, we're good. Everybody just needs to update their name whenever they get in here.
How are y'all?
Doing well. Hi, Caffrey. My name is Gina. I'm taking over for Bree as the new partner success manager. So it's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too. And then Jason, is that you in the corner over there?
Yes, I'm our new COO at Rev Genius.
Well, nice to meet you.
Great to meet you.
Hi, Caffrey. I'm Kendall. Not on camera today, but I work closely with Megan and Jay at Uniphore.
Nice to meet you, Kendall.
Hey, Gina, can you promote me to host, and I'll go drop the LinkedIn Live stuff in.
Yep. I'm doing it right now.
So when we get started, am I just jumping in, or is Rev Genius going to do an introduction?
Yeah, Gina, if you can just do a real quick introduction, just where whoever's speaking first or whoever's speaking, and
Yeah.
where they're coming from, and then we can just hand it over from there. But just real brief, simple intro.
Sounds good. Yeah, it will be me, Gina, going first. So
Okay, beautiful. So I'll just do a quick intro. I'm sorry, guys. We're kind of getting our bearings here, but Yeah, I'll go ahead and introduce you, Jay, and then let you take it away if you don't mind to continue
Yeah.
with the rest of the panelists.
Yeah.
Promise I'm normally a lot more organized. Hey, Jason, it's not allowing me to edit this for whatever reason. To
Edit.
make you a sponsor. It's not, or a manager. It's not allowing me to. It's completely blocked out. I'm under Rev Genius as well.
Then I'll walk you through dropping the stuff into into there as far as the credentials for LinkedIn Live.
Okay.
So in the bottom right of the screen, next to like whiteboard, there should be a more,
Got it.
and then there should be an option for stream to custom RTMP or something like that.
Live on custom streaming service, live on Twitch, Facebook,
live
Workplace.
on custom.
Got it.
And then the 2 pieces of data that you need, or 3 pieces of data, URL, key, and streaming page are all in Slack. Harry just sent that over.
Okay, beautiful. Stream URL.
Quick question. So for the attendees, can they only interact with us via chat?
Yes.
Okay, great. And I'm planning on putting in the agenda and some prompting questions to have some interaction in the chat. That's where I would do that, correct?
Yeah, that'll typically be best.
And then should we,
Obviously,
Gina, are you going to wait until we have a quorum to do the intro? Like once we get above 100 people or something?
I can
Okay.
certainly do that. I can watch the people who
Yeah,
are
I mean,
joining and then wait for 100 and then start the introductions.
well, I mean, I would say let's give it 3 no more than 5 minutes and get going.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
regardless of how many are in there. And honestly, just to level set, like we're at, I think like 120, 130 registrations. Like
Okay.
typically you don't see more than like 25-30% actually show up.
Yeah. that makes sense.
That's we would need like 300 plus to be getting to 100.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then with just Megan, Caffrey, and my content, we did a run through this morning and it's about 30 minutes or so. We'll see what type of questions come up in the chat, but just FYI, we probably won't use the full hour that's blocked.
Okay. You want me to go ahead and go live, Jason, or wait till we go live to start the webinar? I'm sorry.
Wait until we're going to start the webinar. So like, right at the top of the hour, we'll go live across the board. So start the webinar
Beautiful.
live on the LinkedIn Live. Harry will click go live on the LinkedIn side.
Okay.
And we'll be good to go.
Beautiful.
And quick question on the chat. So it says hosts and panelists. Is that everyone? Is that the attendees as well? If I put in the chat there?
That should update to everybody by default as soon as we go live, but just make sure if not, there's a drop down next to it that'll allow you to choose who it's going to go to.
Got it.
Yeah, we should be able to see the Q&A, Jay. Like if you click on that, people can submit questions just to us, the host and panelists. Yeah, if you want to check that too.
Yeah. And we can all see that, right?
Yeah, the host and panelists.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Gina, go ahead and hit go live in Zoom so it'll connect to LinkedIn Live, and then we can hit go live there right at the top of the hour.
Okay.
Cool.
And it's setting it up right now.
LinkedIn Live is not awesome from a tech stack standpoint. All right, we're good to go on the LinkedIn side. So just right at the top, we'll go live here in Zoom, and then Harry will flip the switch in LinkedIn.
Okay. Yeah, it's showing an error. The LinkedIn page isn't available. The page you're searching for no longer exists.
Yeah, just click to
Okay.
update it and drop in those credentials
it.
again. It tries to default to the last place you pointed it to in Zoom.
Got it. Okay, let me try this one more time. No, it says we're live streaming. It won't give me the option to
Okay.
redo the credentials. So we're good. Okay. I just
Cool.
wanted to make sure.
Yeah, and Harry confirmed he's seeing us on the other side, so we should be good.
Beautiful.
How many growth marketers does it take to start a webinar?
One and a BDR transitioning. It's been an interesting ride, but this is going to go off without a hitch. It's going to be great. I'm super excited.
It's impressive only being here for a week to already be
Yeah.
launching rocket ships.
I mean, I
There's a-
can't take all the credit.
There's a reason why I rehired Gina and brought her along with me. Let's put it that way.
You can see that. And you guys can hear us all okay? Should we do a test?
Yeah,
I
you
can
guys
hear
sound
everybody
great.
Fine.
Okay.
Caffrey, can you test your audio real quick?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute and stop my video. I'll hang on for the first like 5 or 10 minutes just to make sure there's no issues, and then I'll drop after that.
Gonna be pretty great content, Jason. You might want to stay on.
Well, I'll be reviewing the recording anyway. So.
Yeah.
No,
Thanks,
Jason,
guys.
I'll stay on for the entire thing, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Beautiful.
Yeah, if you can help moderate questions or anything else they need, that would be great. Obviously, you can hit her up in Slack if you need anything while this is live.
Mhm.
And if you want to do that in the Uniphore channel, I'm on that monitoring as well. So,
Great.
all right, guys. Well, whenever you're ready, Gina, I'd say you can go ahead and flip it.
Okay. And we're going in now, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. We're going to give it a few minutes just so that everybody who is going to attend is here, and then we will get started. For those of you that are still in here, if you guys want to just drop in the chat, see where you're coming in from, we'd love to see where everybody's joining at.
And perhaps, Gina, bonus points if you put the first concert you attended.
Hey. I don't know if I can actually remember mine. I think it was Jessica Simpson in like the 2000s.
Yeah, if it's Jessica Simpson, it's a very specific era. Like we could all almost identify it's like 2003, 2004.
Yep, pretty much.
It looks like it says chat is disabled. I'm getting a
Okay.
couple questions coming in.
Okay, let me go ahead and take care of that. Apologies, guys. I asked for something and then it's not there.
It looks like Darren was able to put it in Pat Benatar. That's awesome. Very cool.
Just bear with me here, folks, while I'm working on that for you all.
Hey everyone, welcome. If you just joined, we're working to enable the chat functionality now. See, we're still getting some answers in the Q&A, Jay, to your question.
Yes. And yeah, Smokey Robinson, that is so much better than my first concert, which I think was David Gray, which is ironically like the most gray answer possible. It's like no reaction. Very few people even know who he is. I kind of wish I saved it for a good, exciting artist like Pat Benatar or Smokey Robinson.
Okay, let's go ahead and try, see if the chat is now enabled.
Looks like it worked on my end, but curious for the attendees.
Ooh, we got a Beastie Boys answer too.
Nice.
Yeah, worst case scenario, we can just use the Q&A.
Okay.
Okay.
And so question, if someone puts in a question in the Q&A, can everyone else see it? Or is it just us?
They should be able to.
Okay.
Yep, everybody should be able to. Let's go ahead and test one more time for everyone.
Can someone of the attendee list send a chat in the chat functionality? Just see if it gets sent to everyone else or if it's still showing disabled.
No, Darren just let us know chat is still disabled. Kevin and Melissa, thank you all.
Thank you all.
Yeah, let's just use Q&A.
Okay. All right, we about ready to get started?
Yep, all good on our end.
Beautiful. All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Gina Gray. I'm the Partner Success Manager here at Rev Genius, welcoming in our host of panelists today for our webinar. We're going to start off with Jay Motta with Uniphore. Make sure you guys take a lot of notes, engage in Q&A, and enjoy.
Great. Thank you, Gina. As Gina mentioned, my name is Jay Motta. I'm a member of our customer success team here at Uniphore, the global leader in conversational automation. Specifically, my focus and Megan's as well is within Uniphore is with our platform called Q for Sales, which helps sales teams be able to read the room virtually, which ultimately helps increase revenue. I'm joined by two great experts in the space of scaling your impact. We'll talk more about the agenda here in a moment, but first, just want to introduce Caffrey Francis, one of our customers, CEO of YouEarn, and then my colleague and leader of our customer success team, Megan Walther. Before we get started on the topic, I'm just going to pass the virtual mic to you first, Caffrey. And if you could just share a little bit of background on why you decided to partner with Q for Sales and Uniphore. What was that initial problem that you looked at Q for Sales for solving? And then just a little bit of background on who you are as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Jay. So I'm Caffrey Francis. I'm the CEO of YouEarn. And YouEarn is an affiliate marketing sales coaching program where we generate booked calls for our affiliates and we teach them how to close on our offer. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. And one of the critical reasons why we chose Q for Sales is we had a problem with standardizing our sales performances across our reps. And with Q for Sales, our sales reps can know their performance with metrics and insights, which makes it very easy for them to know areas of improvement and proactively knowing if the deal is on track to close well before the sales cycle has closed. This has really helped our company because it gives us the ability to have limitless scale while still providing an excellent customer service.
Great. Thank you, Caffrey. And Megan?
Yeah, thanks, Jay. And thanks, Caffrey, for that great context. As we get into this discussion, I think there are several themes you touched on that I'm excited to explore. So hi, Megan Walther. I joined Uniphore earlier this year to lead the customer success function for our Q for Sales product. I've spent my career in tech, mainly focused on leading customer success teams for startup and growth SaaS companies. And I'm really excited to be here today with you, Jay and Caffrey, to discuss the topic of scaling impact.
Great. Thank you, Megan. And just quick introduction for myself. I'm Jay Motta, member of our customer success team. Most of my experience has been in the SaaS tech world, mainly with startup companies from all different stages. So I'll be bringing that perspective, but mainly it'll be Caffrey and Megan answering today's questions. And so just want to lay out the agenda. I'll put the copy and paste it in the chat function, which I think you guys will be able to see, but not participate there. If you do have questions, you can share that in the Q&A section. So the topics that we want to make sure that we cover, but certainly not limited to, is one, developing effective, and chat is enabled now. Great. Thank you. So developing effective yet scalable processes to maximize your impact. Number two is understanding a framework for scaling impact and revenue quickly, especially with leveraging different technologies. So we'll certainly ask Megan and Caffrey, and also we'll be sharing some questions as well to the audience to engage in as well. One of them is going to be around the technologies that you use to leverage when trying to help scale your impact, make things more efficient, and yet still be effective. And then lastly, we'll be talking about unpacking company or team culture and how it impacts your team's effectiveness. So two goals for today's conversation is to have just perhaps a bit of an expanded perspective and maybe rethinking strategies or techniques to bring back to each of your day-to-days. We'll ask at the end of just what's one takeaway that you might want to start implementing back in your day-to-day, or at least making you rethink on some of the strategies there. Certainly with a topic like scaling your impact, do you want to call out that with the current market and hiring freezes and layoffs, unfortunately, occurring, that a lot of today will be centered around scaling your impact with your current headcount, or even recently a reduced headcount as well. So it's really getting the most from your current team, not as much on like onboarding new employees, for instance. And then the other goal is having this be interactive. So if you do have questions, the chat is now enabled. Feeling free to ask specific questions to Caffrey, myself, or Megan, and we'll make sure to tie that in to the conversation today. So first question that I want to ask Megan and Caffrey here today is, when thinking around maximizing the potential of your current team members, what have been the most effective processes that you've seen in terms of scalability while still being effective? And if you prefer, and also in the chat, we'd love to hear some of your thoughts on this topic as well. And you can also include in the chat, what things have you seen not go well that you would recommend steering away from, as that can be just as helpful. So first, I will pass the virtual mic to Megan to get your thoughts on this piece of a question.
Yeah, thanks. Great question. So, hiring additional team members is not the only way to realize impact. And I know that's not always an option, particularly in difficult economic times, as you touched on, Jay. So I really do think focusing on maximizing the potential of each team member is equally as important as expanding the team through hiring efforts. So, I believe a key aspect of maximizing the potential of your current team members is understanding the strengths and interests of everyone on your team. So, your team needs to have that baseline skill set. And for customer success, I think it's important to have strong customer facing experience as well as technical capabilities. Industry experience can be important as well, depending on the industry you're in. But I found that in many instances that can be learned over time. So just, looking at our team at Uniphore, myself and Jay, we worked in different industries prior to joining Uniphore, a company that specializes in conversational AI technology. However, we are building that expertise while leveraging our experience in the customer success and SaaS spaces. So once you have those kind of baseline requirements that I talked about, I really do think it's important to understand the additional skills and interests your team possesses, as those are critical to success. So, for instance, you might have someone who has a passion and aptitude for process optimization. Personally, I love projects that focus on process optimization. So understanding what each team member is good at, but what type of projects motivate them will allow you to see that real impact. So, then you can leverage that understanding when you assign projects that are going to help you achieve those strategic goals. And at the same time, you're going to help your team members grow professionally, reach the next level of their careers. And that's only going to motivate them further. So, yeah. Wrap up my answer to that.
Love that. And definitely we'll circle back on a couple of those topics. I'll first pass it over to Caffrey to get your perspective on it.
Megan, I completely agree with what you just previously said. See, when I'm thinking about what you just said, I think about some of my experiences growing up. I grew up in a remodeling business, and that is what my whole family owned. And I witnessed a lot of different variables happening at the exact same time, such as materials, scheduling, and tons of people. And what we found is that we were always hitting a ceiling that could prevent us from continuing to grow and expand. And so going forward on other businesses, but especially YouEarn, I really looked at creating a business where we can really leverage the software and technologies that help ensure our continuous growth while not hitting our ceiling. Even with the same team headcount, see, one of the best things that I constantly do every day is just constantly monitor where our time is being spent and looking at each stage of our customer journey and seeing where I can get the time back while not sacrificing the quality of our experience. And I feel like that's the best thing overall so far. And it's just been a process, and just every day, just really measuring those important KPIs is what's really going to move the needle for us.
That's awesome. Really curious on both of you guys' answers, and definitely have some follow-up questions. We'll start with you first, Megan. So do you have any examples? I know you mentioned a couple of projects that recently that you feel could be helpful for the rest of the audience to be aware of if they are thinking of assigning projects or things that might be helpful for the team and broader organization.
Yes, happy to expand on that point. So projects I've assigned in the past include, optimizing your team's quarterly business review process or creating a customer advisory board. That's a great initiative if you don't already have one. Both of those projects are one that customer success team members can take ownership of and drive. Both require working with internal and external stakeholders, and are initiatives that can really move CS team forward. Looking at the QBR, the quarterly business review, a little bit more in depth, that's something that can be conducted on a quarterly or more regular basis, depending on the needs of your customers. And this is really an opportunity to review key metrics related to how your customers are using your products, which is, crucial to continuing to reinforce the value you're providing with your customers. So, optimizing that process, making sure you have the correct metrics in place, standardizing that is a really important initiative. And then, the customer advisory board also requires working with internal stakeholders, such as your product team, as well as a group of customers who you're identifying as part of this board to get their insight and their feedback about your product. This is an initiative we'll be taking on at Uniphore for our Q for Sales product later this year, as it's a really great touch point with your customers that can have a real impact. So that's just a little bit more detail about a couple of projects that I think can have real impact.
Yeah, and it's really helpful just getting more of a list. Of course, with us being team members, I'm aware of some of that, but I think it would be helpful to share with everyone else. And I think another one that we've seen be really successful is creating short bite-sized onboarding videos, really making sure that the customer experience has still been effective, but more of a one-to-many format, especially if you're looking at, headcount and resources. Finding some of those more of like one-to-many, but still feel personal and customized to the audience. One thing that Caffrey, you mentioned, certainly time management is going to be a big topic, and something that, especially when markets are a bit more unstable, everyone's looking to get the most valuable resource of time working best in their direction. So was curious if you had any tips or recommendations of things that you've seen work well as a CEO managing time.
Actually, this is a really good question for me. So there's 3 main steps that we implement, and these 3 steps are critical for our success. First, we use a spreadsheet and calendar to map out our team's goals and deadlines. This helps us see where there might be potential bottlenecks or areas for improvement. Second, I make sure everyone on my team is aware of the importance of time management. This helps ensure that everyone's working together efficiently towards the same goals. And then the last step is I'm constantly reviewing and optimizing our process. Things are always changing very rapidly around here, so it's important that we're flexible and able to adapt.
Yeah, that's great context, and especially in terms of time management, I always think of I read Bob Iger's book. He's the recent CEO of Disney, and he starts every day. He also wakes up at 4 a.m. So you don't necessarily have to do that to embody this. But when he wakes up, he would never check his email or any internal communications right when he wakes up. He wants like thinking and creative time first in those 30 minutes, because he felt like if he did wake up and just check email, that he's already in a reactive mode and could be missing on his daily goals. So I literally think about that every morning of if Bob Iger could not look at his phone right when he wakes up, maybe I can do that as well, maybe. So jumping to question number 2, really about the scaling of impact in terms of different frameworks. And this is where, I'm curious to hear from the audience as well of different technologies that you've used to leverage, whether it's time management, whether it's be more effective with customers, whatever it might be that you've been able to leverage. And certainly the balance of time and effectiveness as well. Caffrey, we'll start with you first on this topic, and I'll also include the question in the chat here as well.
All right. Are you adding it here?
Yes, yeah, but you can go ahead and basically what technologies or processes have worked well for making sure that you're scaling effective, but also, in a timely manner as well.
So Q for sales is critical to our success because, without implementing y'all, then we'd always have to continuously grow our team. And as you know, it's very difficult to grow a team, that is huge, worth of thousands of people. Now we can just keep our head count and then scale and make sure that the customer is still, satisfied. But with that being said, I'm very, as you know, I always look at my time, but also like I'm very, I always look at our growth. So I'm always trying to make sure that we're not growing too quickly without the systems in place to ensure that we can scale effectively as a business. I know that we can't be everywhere at once. And especially as a CEO, I have a tendency to want to just work harder, but I'm always thinking about our success in the long run, even if that means slowing down in the short term to ensure we are providing a great customer experience.
Yeah, and certainly making sure that, if I'm hearing you correctly, it's like making sure that that it is properly scaling, that you don't get to a point where you're winning in the short term, but long term you've created issues that are too hard to come back from.
Exactly.
And Megan?
Yes, and I love what you said, Caffrey, because I think it's easy to want to do everything all at once, but it does, when you're in this type of environment, you do need to focus. And then going back to your question, Jay, I want to answer the part about technology. But before getting into specific tools, I think that it's important to look at data as a topic that's crucial to the success of any organization. Data allows you to understand what's working and what isn't through an objective lens that allows you to make decisions quickly. So in terms of tools, a CRM, customer relationship management system, that's a tool that I find is really crucial to building that data-centric culture. However, simply using the tool isn't enough. You need to ensure that you're building a culture in which every team member understands the importance of tracking data, and you build a system that makes it easy to input accurate data that allows you to make those decisions. And since we're discussing technology, another tool that I think is crucial is a video conferencing platform. In the world we live in today, remote meetings are here to stay. So tools like Zoom or WebEx or Teams are crucial. They allow us to build customer relationships from that very first interaction. That's one of the reasons I love our Q for Sales platform. It works natively with your tech stack and provides the ability to analyze meetings that and tells you what's resonating with your audience. So you can adjust in real time or before your next call. And then finally, the final layer, I think, is automation. So once you have those systems and tools in place, and focusing on what's most important to build that foundation, it's really important to see where you can automate. So that's going to free your team up from those manual tasks and give them the ability to focus on more strategic initiatives. So a really simple example is maybe it's creating a rule in your CRM to update certain records when a specific action is taken. There's many different ways to automate, but if you take the time to look at your whole process and your systems and focus on where you can automate, that investment's going to pay off and really help you scale your impact.
That's great, Megan. And it reminds me of managing different teams and time management and getting time back and what things can be more automatic. It always comes back to one of my more effective managers would ask, what is taking up the time in your day throughout the week? Like, where could you get time back? And one of the important exercises of this is to not necessarily try to come up with the solution in the same moment, because I feel like everyone tries to maximize the time that they're spending throughout the day, but then as soon as it gets to the solution, then it kind of just ignores and cancels each other out. So instead, just focusing on where you potentially could get time back. And then that's when you can figure out internal processes that could be improved to help get that time back, or even externally, whether it's different technologies or best practices that you learn. So one thing that I've seen work well is just having it be a two-step process of where's time being spent that shouldn't be, having a list of those, and then determining if and what solutions could be made available to help give you back the time in things that you are going to have to be spending your time on that can't just be busy work, for instance. Moving to the last question, really centered around, team, company culture. This is always a really big topic for many different reasons, whether it's burnout, turnover, etc. But certainly in terms of scaling your impact, would love to understand, Megan, we'll first start with you, of just how do you see team culture playing a part in how effective your team is as well?
Yeah, thanks, Jay. I love this question because I think that team culture is a critical component of maximizing impact. Having a team aligned with common values will allow you to work more efficiently together. And I think stating those values out loud is also key. For instance, values that I have always found important include, collaboration, having a growth mindset, and empathy. And I'm referring to empathy both for one another and for your customers. That's such an important aspect of relationship building internally and externally. And it's another characteristic that our Q for Sales product can measure through our AI technology. So had to mention that there. And then, in addition to those values, I think trust is also really key. For true collaboration to occur, you need to be honest with one another to move the business forward to achieve your goals. And so when you build that foundation of trust and honesty and people feel safe to voice their opinions, that's when, true collaboration can occur. At Uniphore, the lead of our team, she regularly checks in to see what is working well and what isn't working well. And we have the culture to be candid so that we can pivot quickly in order to make progress, which, is something that I think is so great.
Yeah, and certainly something that I've experienced at Uniphore as well. If I'm thinking for our audience, though, and I'm sure we've all been in companies or teams where perhaps that trust is more in the gray zone, where it might not quite be as strong when you're first attending a team or company. So I'm curious, Megan, do you have any recommendations for those people that might just be trying to take baby steps right now of building trust or perhaps even rebuilding trust, let's just say within their team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think feedback is so important to building trust and starting with one-on-one conversations. If you're leading a team or if you're working one-on-one with your manager, having that mentality that your feedback is valued. I always think that it's important that feedback goes both way, not just top down, but bottoms up. And I think that's just, the starting point to building that trust is starting with those one-on-one conversations and being open to feedback.
Yeah, that's great, Megan. And also before we jump to Caffrey, just reminder, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the chat of just perhaps even some of the North Star, fundamentals that you try to create with your team and organizations and what you've seen work really well. We'd love to see that there in the chat. Caffrey, over to you in terms of team culture and how you see it impact teams and organizations.
Well, Megan, I really like what you previously said about the two-way conversation. I feel like that's extremely important for any organization, as it really brings people together, but also really makes people more passionate about that goal. So you're able to move more efficiently because of your communications there. For us, there's a few key things that I know will make or break a team success. First, having the people on your team that match your company goals. For us, we have a high stress environment, so we need people who thrive in that environment. This means that if your team is not passionate about their work, they'll be able to handle the challenges that come with it, as long as that passion is there. Second, I found that a strong sense of teamwork can go a long way in ensuring that everyone is working towards the same goal. And finally, a healthy dose of competition can keep everyone on their toes, motivated to do their best work.
That's great, Caffrey. And, certainly one of the things that stands out, and also saw it in the chat with Kendall, is having a culture of fast feedback definitely helps with trust building and effective decision-making. And that's something that I've seen on both ends work well and not work well, is having that trust and feedback that Megan mentioned of having that go back upwards. A lot of the times it seems to go top down. That's a tough environment to build that trust, where if you truly do make, individual contributors feel comfortable sharing their feedback and suggestions, that can be really impactful.
Absolutely.
So scrolling down, there's a couple of Q&A questions that I have, one for Megan, one for Caffrey. Curious if there's any other thoughts though on the first three subjects. Again, feel free to put that in the chat there. First question for Caffrey, being a CEO, being a founder, would love to understand, what recommendations or advice would you have for anyone that's not necessarily even needing to start a new company, but perhaps looking for, something new in their career or something to branch off that might be a bit intimidating at first?
Jay, that's a pretty good question. I think the first thing is that you must have a passion for whatever you're doing. If you don't have the passion, it will be very difficult to get through those tough times. You also need to be able to work hard and be willing to sacrifice a lot of things in order to make your company or whatever you're going after successful. Here there's a lot of late nights and early mornings, and you have to be prepared for that. But if you have the passion and you're willing to work hard, then I think starting your own company or whatever you want to do will be successful.
Great, Caffrey, and certainly inspirational for the day. If I could just get like one piece nugget of motivation like that a day, I'd probably be better person and employee. So thank you, Caffrey. For Megan, one of the questions I had for you, I know a bit about your background. You've been in many high growth environments. I'm curious what about that environment, certainly we have one at Uniphore as well, that excites you about going to work each day.
Yeah, that's a great question. I like that every day is different. I'm always learning, and joining high growth environments. I feel like I've been really lucky to work with talented colleagues like yourself, Jay, who are always excited about the challenge and also the opportunity that it provides. This type of environment comes with lofty goals, but you also get to have a real impact as an individual as you're building the foundation. And I always find that very exciting.
It's great. Thank you, Megan. And so, yeah, to slowly start wrapping up this webinar, I think, would love to see any takeaways, even if it's something small that have perhaps changed your perspective on ways that you might think about scaling your impact, whether it's amongst your team, even just as an individual as well, or across the organization. I know two that stuck out to me based on both of your expertise was one, finding something that you're passionate about. And I think that goes without saying at times in terms of like organization or finding an industry, but even what Megan mentioned of like different projects or ways that you could help your team and organization, finding where your passion and the projects that are needed overlap, and being able to work on those. And I've certainly seen that be very successful, and it turns some of those projects that are constantly on your to-do. If you're more passionate about it, you're probably going to be implementing those more and reiterating and updating those projects. The other thing, certainly something that Caffrey mentioned, was around time management, especially in terms of using technologies, whether like for you and your team, Caffrey, was using spreadsheets and really constantly looking at where your time is being spent and seeing what ways you can help improve on those aspects while still being effective as well. So if you are curious to learn more about Uniphore or the things that we're doing with Q for Sales, it's certainly very exciting. I'll put in the chat function here just a quick URL, but unless anyone else has any other questions, we can give everyone back a little bit of time today. All right. thank you all. Really appreciate attending, and don't hesitate to reach out if you do have any questions for us. All right, take care.
Bye.